Hera is by far the most renowned of the female Greek goddesses. She is the daughter of the Titans, Cronus, Rhea, and one of the original Olympians. She is the wife of Zeus, her brother, the king of Olympus, which makes her the queen of Olympus. She is commonly associated with four main domains: women, childbirth, family, and marriage, ironically. Cronus, the ancient supreme god, is her father who swallowed her, fearing that he will be overthrown. Zeus then liberated Hera from her father's stomach. Zeus was impressed with her beauty and fell in love with her. Hera resisted Zeus' intentions, who tried all tricks to seduce her and later fell into Zeus' trap, and in spite of being his sister, she married Zeus. Also known as the goddess of marriage and birth, Hera was the wife of Zeus and by extension, also the queen of all gods. Being the divine representation of marriage, she always showed a special interest in protecting married women and preserving the sacred bond that was created when two souls were bound together in matrimony. But she had particularly tough time keeping Zeus for herself, and he had countless extramarital affairs. Her husband, Zeus, is described to be unfaithful to her not once but numerous times. He had severely illegitimate children. Hera resisted Zeus' intentions and sought revenge on his lovers and illegitimate children. No wonder her defining characteristics include a jealous and vengeful nature. Hera ruled over the heavens and the mortal world long before her marriage to Zeus. Even the mighty Zeus feared her. She was particularly fierce towards his other love interests and would go to great lengths to have them punished, so much so that she would not even spare their children. In her absolute anger and anguish over Zeus' never-ending affairs, she would blindly punish others in the name of justice. Demeter was the daughter of two prominent titans, Cronus and Rhea. Being the goddess of harvest and grain, she was given a high status in ancient Greek mythology. Even though she was one of the first Olympian gods, she took a path which was very different to other contemporary Olympians. She refused to be confined to the realms of Mount Olympus and went to the temples dedicated to her by her followers. She lived close to those who worshipped her and in many ways depended on her. She has always had a substantial following among mortals since she had the power to bless them with rich harvests, and she also created the seasons that were favorable for the planting of crops. But when Hades abducted her beloved daughter Persephone and took her to the underworld, she fell into a state of deep gloom and sorrow, causing the plants to wither and die. From that point onwards, whenever Persephone would leave for the underworld, the season of winter would fall in the world of mortals. Persephone's return to Demeter would mark the beginning of spring. Leto was one of the earliest and, as many would argue, the favorite lover of the mighty Zeus. But she is much better known for her struggling years of motherhood and is considered as the goddess of motherhood. She is the daughter of Phoebe, goddess of oracular intelligence, and the Titan Koios, god of intellect. She is the mother of Apollo and Artemis. Zeus and Leto were deeply in love, and Leto had already given him children way before Zeus married Hera. As per ancient Greek mythology, Leto lived on the island of Kos. Zeus was seduced by Leto's beauty and impregnated her, giving birth to the twins Apollo and Artemis. Zeus' wife Hera was upset and annoyed at Zeus, and out of jealousy she forbids Leto to give birth. Leto was filled with fear, anxiety, and was in a rush to pursue around the land to deliver her twins post, which she took refuge on the island of Delos. But that did not lessen Hera's anguish, as she went to great lengths to bring utter despair upon a pregnant and helpless Leto. Eventually, Leto gave birth to the twin deities Artemis and Apollo. Having two such powerful gods as her children, Leto had regained her lost honor, and both Artemis and Apollo glorified their status in Greek mythology. Despite the hardships she had to endure, her cult began to spread as she wandered from place to place with her children. In the end, she successfully carved her name into Greek mythology as a modest, motherly, and respected figure. Styx is the Greek Titan goddess of sacred oaths and the river Styx, the boundary between the earth and the underworld. Her Roman counterpart is river Styx itself. She was the daughter of the oldest Titan god, Oceanus, and his sister wife, Themis. In one of the ancient Greek tales, Zeus fell in love and had an affair with a priestess, Semele. Hera, hungry for revenge, befriended Semele and made her believe that her lover was not a god. To prove his powers, Zeus swore an oath to grant a wish to Semele on the river Styx. Semele, in return, asked to see Lord Zeus' true form. Zeus knew that seeing the true form of gods could result in the mortal being bursting into flames. However, the sacred oath he swore could not be broken. Therefore, he showed Semele his true form, which resulted in the death of Semele, who was pregnant with Dionysus, god of wine and festivities. Styx, thus, was one of the most honored female Greek goddesses of Greek mythology. Even gods and goddesses did not dare to go against her. Belonging to the generation of the Titans, Themis is the goddess of the divine law and order and prophecy. She is responsible for dealing with chaos by keeping a check on humans as well as other gods. She often acted as the interpreter of God's will. According to many stories, Zeus' first wife and counselor. They had various children, including the Fates, goddesses of fate and natural order. She is one of the most intelligent female Greek goddesses. Themis is regarded as the wisest of the ancient Greek deities. She is often depicted as a woman holding a sword in one hand and scales in the other. She is often confused with Nemesis, the goddess of retribution. While Nemesis was famous for her wrath, Themis was known and worshipped for her pragmatic and just nature. Her Roman equivalent is goddess Justitia. Nemesis is goddess of revenge and divine retribution. In the history of the ancient world, her role is pivotal. The name of the goddess implies, she who distributes what is due. She would carry out judgment and inflict punishments upon those who perpetrated evil against others or amassed good fortune that they didn't deserve. Also known as the god of revenge, she represented the consequences one had to face for every single felony. For this reason, many worshipped her as the very personification of all life's repercussions for sin. Nemesis inflicts punishment on people who commit arrogance before the gods as vengeance. Her other names are Rhamnuja and Adrasteia. She is symbolized for the idea of righteous anger. Nemesis was never known to judge crime and criminals connected to personal vendettas. She would rather scrutinize the general situation of every man before deciding what he should receive, shades of happiness or heaps of retribution. Her actions were aimed at maintaining a balance within human affairs. She was the one who distributed happiness and, at the same time, dealt out misery. It was her job to make sure that there was neither too much happiness nor too much sorrow. The parentage of one of the great female Greek goddesses, Nemesis, is a highly debatable matter. She is the personification of divine retribution, punishment, and justice, whose mother is Nyx, the Greek goddess of night. On the other hand, her father can be anyone from Oceanus to Erebus or even Zeus. In various tales, Helen of Troy is depicted as her daughter, while in others, she is depicted as Zeus' illegitimate child with a mortal woman. According to a tale, Nemesis was also approached by Zeus, the king of Mount Olympus. To avoid Zeus' advances, Nemesis turned herself into a goose. But Zeus, being the strongest of all gods, recognized her and turned himself into a swan to mate with her. The resulting offspring, according to the tale, was Helen. She also appeared in the story of Narcissus. Narcissus was an extremely beautiful young man, to the point of arrogance. Goddess Nemesis, thus, lured him into a pool where he saw his reflection for the first time, only to jump in the pool and drown. She is depicted as a winged goddess with undoubted beauty, a sword, dagger, and scales. Her Roman counterpart is Invidia Roman.